Our speaker today is a gentleman who has been with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or for those in the know, the Bureau, for over 25 years, I believe. He is the special agent in charge for Colorado, Wyoming. He'll fill us in, and I don't know if this thing is nearly tall enough for him. And he has recently taken on the job of being Director of Public Safety for the state of Colorado. So with no further ado and total lack of biography, he'll fill us in. Special Agent Jim Davis.
Good morning. This is, I was thinking about this driving, and I think this is my last speech as an FBI agent, which, you know, isn't necessarily a bad thing. I am, as Bob said, I'm retiring at the end of the month, and I've taken a job with the Colorado Department of Public Safety. I'll be the new executive director. Be an opportunity for me to work with a new governor who is an interesting guy, obviously. Frankly, he is a hard guy not to like, regardless of your political leanings. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work with him. I know that in the flyer we said we were going to talk about Zazi, and we can do that, or we can talk about anything that you all want to talk about. We can do it that way as well. I think that the lesson, we'll start with the lesson from Zazi, and you know, kind of combined with the Abdul Muttalib case, you know, the underwear bomber in Detroit and the Times Square bomber, Faisal Shahzad, is that Al-Qaeda is increasing their efforts to get us. I think what we're seeing is a significant increase in their operational tempo. It is a situation where they are making their attacks far less sophisticated. You know, in the past, after 9/11, that became their signature. They wanted another 9/11. They wanted something as spectacular as 9/11 had been. And, you know, it's kind of a good news, bad news thing. That, you know, the bad news is that they are upping their tempo. The good news is that they really are unable to plan like they did for 9/11 because of the pressure that our intelligence community, and specifically our Department of Defense, is putting on them. You know, there are a lot of people who talk about kind of the change in the philosophy towards counterterrorism with the new president, the new administration. And I don't know if it's because I'm in a different position now and I see it more, but I got to tell you that this administration, in the last 2 years, just let's say this, in the last 2 years, we've killed more terrorists, more Al-Qaeda leaders overseas than at any time that I remember since 9/11. You know, every time we identify a guy overseas who is the leader, you know, who is somebody who does the operational planning for Al-Qaeda, you know, something really bad happens to him. And it's kind of a difference in philosophy. I think that for a while what we did was, you know, we were looking at it like we identify the guy. It's, you know, the devil you know kind of thing. You know who he is. You can keep an eye on him, see who he's talking to, that sort of thing. And I think now the strategy has gone to, you know, just getting rid of him and really doing what we can to disrupt their operational planning. And I think it's been effective because what you've seen is, you know, these attacks, Zazi accepted, these attacks where guys are going into things really unable to carry out the attacks. You know, their planning is poor, their equipment is poor. I mean, that's not to say that they're not going to get lucky at some point, because frankly, they will get lucky. We can't, you know, we're kind of playing goalie, you know, and even the best goalies let a couple of shots pass, and I think that's the situation that we're in. The interesting thing about the Zazi case was that, you know, that there has been a lot of media reporting about when we knew about the case and you know, how long we were on Zazi. I can tell you that we found out about Zazi on Labor Day of 2009. And I don't know if you guys recall the kind of the sequence of events back then, but, Zazi's intent was to attack on, or as close as he could get to the anniversary of 9/11. So it gives you an idea about how much time we had to deal with him. It was a week, really, if that. We had identified, and I got to be really careful because a lot of the information, we talk about classified information. The information itself isn't necessarily classified, but how we get it is what's classified. And I always get in trouble with this, so Steve Olson is the National Security ASAC. He's sitting over there. He's the guy who ran this case, really. And I'm going to keep looking at him to make sure that I don't commit a felony up here. I am far too close to retirement to do that. We found out about Zazi as a result of our overseas intelligence gathering process. So we have laid tripwires overseas that will tell us when bad guys are communicating. And what had happened was Zazi was in communication with somebody that we knew to be a bad guy. Right? That's how we get on Zazi. We also know generally what he said. And he was talking in code that was bad code for us. He said something about the marriage being ready, and he was looking for the proper mixture of oil and flour for the cake, or something like that. And in our game, we know marriage means suicide attack. So that's what we get on Labor Day. We got this guy in Colorado talking to Al-Qaeda leaders saying that he is ready for his suicide attack. And I got to tell you, my first thought was, this is a mistake. The area code, 303 area code, is the same as the country code for Pakistan. So a lot of times we'll get intelligence that some phone number was activated, somebody gave a phone number, that sort of thing, and it looks like a Colorado number, but in fact it is a Pakistan number. And that was my first thought. Not so much that the intelligence wasn't accurate, it's just that it wasn't a guy here in Colorado. So when Steve gave me that information, I said, all right, let's make sure the guy's here. He called me back in about an hour and said, yep, the guy's here. He lives in Aurora, and Steve was sending guys out to sit on his house. And that's kind of the way it got started. The next day, was not the next day. The next day he went out and rented a car. The next evening he went out and rented a car. Our guys were still on him. And then the following morning is when he got in the car and took off for New York at 100 plus miles an hour on I-70. Another, very interesting call, right? Because they call in, they say, hey, the guy is taking off. We don't know if he's running to something, if he's running from something. We don't know if something bad's going to happen in Colorado, or if he's going to go to New York to do something bad. I mean, we had very little intelligence at that point. So our guys literally chased him across the country. We were able to get a state trooper to stop him near Lyman. He had stopped to get gas, I guess, in Lyman. He got back on the expressway, and he was still building up his speed when the trooper got him. So he wasn't actually speeding by much when the trooper got him. So we wanted him to engage the guy in conversation, see what he could get out of him, kind of see what he could see in the car. And the trooper did a great job for us. Zazi told him that he was going to New York and that he was going there to work on his, because he had a coffee cart business, and the coffee cart business was in trouble. And that he was renting a car because he was going to need a car when he was in New York and didn't want to rent one at the airport.